Fox News alert now. 3 innocent Israelis murdered and 11 more hurt after terrorists with ties to Hamas opened fire at a Jerusalem bus stop. And moments ago, 2 IDF soldiers injured when terrorists rammed a car at a checkpoint in the West Bank. All this as the so-called ceasefire/pause deal is extended one final day, perhaps. Tal Heinrich is a spokesperson for the Israeli Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu, joins us now. Tal, great to see you. First off, you just said you wake up and you find out about these 2 random attacks. Your thoughts?
It's terrible. That's the terrible reality of hatred and violence that we're dealing with. One attack in Jerusalem, 3 people were killed, as you said, dozen more injured. Luckily, it could have been much worse. There was one Palestinian perpetrator, one terrorist who was with an M16. The other one was with a pistol, for as much as I understand. And there were 2 Israeli soldiers there, one who was actually on his way back to his unit in the south. He was on leave. So they are trained and they managed to neutralize the terrorists. And then in the Jordan Valley, you have a ramming attack in which 2 soldiers were injured. I did many interviews over the past days, as you know, and usually I get asked, why are you operating in the West Bank? Well, this is why. This is why. People tend to forget that Hamas is not just in Gaza. They have cells in the West Bank and other terrorist organizations like the Palestinian Islamic Jihad. We do not want to see another flare-up on another front, and this is why we're acting preemptively there.
So yesterday we found out late there's going to be another day because you're going to get your 10 more hostages back. So you got some of them back, and then you had to give up 30 in return. So you gave a list of 300, stop me if this is incorrect, of the possible Palestinian prisoners that could get released in exchange for hostages at basically a 3-to-1 margin. Do you know if tomorrow the pause is going to be extended? And how important is it for the rest of the world to know that you guys are going to go finish the job, regardless?
Oh, that's not even in question. We will finish the job. Now, we agreed to this outline upon which, for every extra 10 Israeli hostages that Hamas would release, we said we will give another day of humanitarian pause in the fighting. And for that, and we also prepared the list that you're talking about of Palestinian prisoners who were involved in terrorist activity that we are willing to release. But once Hamas stops releasing more hostages, we will stop the pause. We will resume the fighting. Hamas must be gone.
How do you feel about our Secretary of State sitting in with your war cabinet, war officials, which just happened?
You see, we're in lockstep with Washington about the goals of the operation.
Are you taking orders from us?
We are a sovereign country, as you know, but there is no daylight between Washington and Jerusalem. And it's important to understand here because we all want to see Hamas gone. We all understand that all hostages must return home. There are 145 more in Gaza as we speak right now for more than 55 days now. And everyone understands that Gaza can no longer pose a terror threat to Israel. This is why we're operating.
Axios is reporting that President Biden told Netanyahu, you're a spokesperson for, the Prime Minister, you can't fight in the south, Gaza, the way you did in the north. You've got to be much more surgical. How true is that? And what would that do if he did, in fact, relay that message? You
see, we don't want to see civilians caught in the crossfire. We are doing our maximum efforts to make sure that they are out of harm's way. Hamas is doing exactly the opposite because that's their method. That's how they operate. They embed themselves in and under civilian population. But we will continue to do what we did in the north. And
providing humanitarian corridors, is that what you're going to do?
Indeed, of course. We don't want to see civilians in harm's way. We want them to heed our advice and go to these safer havens that we have designated for them. When
people say, I hope this ceasefire is enduring, what do you tell them?
Ceasefire enduring? What choice do we have? Do they want us to go back to the October 6th? Hamas says that they will perpetrate the October 7th massacre for a second, a third, a fourth time. We believe them. We want to tell the hostages, Brian, who came back home just yesterday and 2 days ago, that they are safe. 4-year-old Abigail Idan. How can we tell her that Hamas will not kidnap her again to Gaza as long as they're in power?
So the Bibas family, especially the 10-month-old on everybody's mind, Kafir, we got some reports. You told me in the green room getting reports that Hamas is saying they're dead. What are you saying?
That the IDF is investigating. We are praying that this is not true. Hamas has been waging psychological warfare against us.
A lot of stuff they said has been inaccurate about the hostages.
Yes, they said that one woman was killed and then they released her. But again, we're investigating this. We're praying for this family, for resilience. We're hoping for the best. We're really hoping that what they say is not true. But remember, they were taking alive into Gaza. You see this video of Shiri, the mother, holding Ariel and Kfir, the baby, in her arms, and you can see the fear, how she was terrorized. We're seeing this footage now, and they were taking alive into Gaza. We want them back.
So do we. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. And best of luck. Get more hostages out and then finish the job.